You're watching a severe weather special, keeping you safe in the storm.
Keeping you safe in the storm.
We've learned over time that people need time to prepare.
With severe weather ramping up in the land of Lincoln.
The times we see those big, giant hail events with 2-inch or larger hail, those have actually been on the upswing.
Our storm team meteorologists break down how you can protect yourself and your family and make sure you're weather aware during any storm that heads our way. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm meteorologist Darren Leeds. Severe weather season is already in full swing here in central Illinois.
And over the next half hour, we'll be going over what you need to know to keep yourself safe in all types of severe weather. It's one of the most common forms of severe weather, thunderstorms. These lead to rain, lightning, and thunder. But many times thunderstorms can also include high winds, which can cause severe damage across the state.
And another major worry that comes with thunderstorms are tornadoes. These powerful weather storms are spawned from thunderstorms and can be devastating, which makes knowing what to do when tornadoes hit our area crucial for everyone. And central Illinois has already seen multiple tornadoes this season.
We take a closer look at the outbreaks here in Illinois and how powerful these storms were.
Well, so far in 2025, central Illinois has already seen 10 confirmed tornadoes, 8 of those receiving an EF1 rating and 2 receiving a rating of EF2. And those are some of our more significant tornadoes, the first of which did cause those 2 injuries and the only injuries we've had reported with our tornadoes so far here in March of 2025. And that was our Neoga tornado. Began just south of the Neoga area and migrated northeasterly up into southern Coles County. Those 2 injuries reported to semi-truck drivers as that tornado crossed Interstate 57. And we did see peak wind speeds of 120 miles per hour. A lot of damage, especially to our Neoga schools down there in Cumberland County. Moving northward up into Piatt County, our Hammond tornado also rated an EF2. Peak wind speeds 115 miles per hour, did rip a roof off a home and cause a number of farm outbuildings to also get damaged. Moving further south, our first confirmed tornado of 2025 was in Fayette County around Vandalia. EF1 rating, weaker wind speeds, and thankfully no injuries reported as this tornado did cross right through the town center of Vandalia, kind of dissipating a little bit and then re-strengthening as it worked its way northeast of the town. Well, our severe weather season has already seen a very active start, and these likely won't be our only tornadoes of the year. Whenever there is a tornado warning in your area, get to safety right away. The safest places are interior room with no windows, but the damage caused by tornadoes can depend on their EF rating. The EF scale, or Enhanced Fujita scale, is used to give a tornado a rating based on estimated wind speeds and related damage. With EF0, our weakest form, we can see some minor damage to homes, possible power lines ripped down, and likely some tree limbs taken off. Once we start to see those winds ramp up in speed, more significant damage is going to happen. Power poles can be taken down. We can start to see more significant damage to homes' roofs. And once we start to see those winds escalate even more between 111 to 135 miles per hour, that's when we start to classify things under EF2. As we continue to climb the Enhanced Fujita scale, especially getting into EF4 and EF5, most homes are going to be almost completely leveled. Cars can even be lifted up into the air. And once we get to that EF5 rating, the strongest rating, there is pretty much just absolute destruction.
Now, throughout the year, our meteorologists rely on products produced by NOAA and the National Weather Service to relay severe weather information. And one of the most recognizable is the Severe Weather Outlook. Meteorologist Matt Bednar has more on the Storm Prediction Center.
The Storm Prediction Center exists to provide forecast and severe weather watches for the lower 48 states. And we do it with a staff of 22 meteorologists and a small support staff. And we're located here in central Oklahoma.
From Norman, Oklahoma to our neck of the woods in central Illinois, the Storm Prediction Center is vital in severe weather preparedness.
Our forecasts play a substantial role in driving the national readiness efforts for severe weather.
A severe weather event is first acknowledged days in advance by a severe weather outlook.
Our bedrock products or forecasts are our severe weather outlooks, and they go out to 8 days in advance. It's because we've learned over time that people need time to prepare. They need time to think about the potential for severe weather.
As the number of days before severe weather dwindle, the details become more refined.
As the event gets closer, the details in our forecast begin to emerge. We'll try to predict tornado intensity, and we'll do the same for damaging thunderstorm winds and large hail.
Whether the main threat is hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, or a combination of the three, the likelihood is categorized by tiers.
It's currently a 5-tier scale. We use 5 words: marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high risk, to denote basically increasing coverage of severe storms.
Regardless of which tier has been issued for our area, the likelihood of severe weather is determined by probabilities. While the probabilities are determined by the likelihood of severe weather within 25 miles, any risk should be watched closely.
If I were in a marginal or slight risk, there's a good chance that you won't see a storm in your vicinity. As it gets up to enhanced and certainly moderate and high risk, there's a very high probability, even likelihood, that you'll see a severe storm very close to your location. And even in a low probability scenario, if you're in the path of that one storm, it can pack a punch.
Not all severe storms have the same strength. The SPC also provides significant weather forecasts.
We also try to forecast what we refer to as significant severe, that have 2-inch or larger hail, winds of 75 miles per hour or higher, or strong or violent tornadoes.
Now, hail can be common here in central Illinois and can inflict serious damage to your property.
And we take a closer look at how damaging it can be and efforts to protect people's homes. Severe thunderstorms are inevitable each spring in central Illinois, and although tornadoes evoke the most fear, hail is the #1 cause of storm damage. In fact, hail accounts for 70% of losses from severe storms. Illinois is no stranger to hail, averaging 2 to 3 days of severe hail each year. And the most vulnerable part of our homes is the roof. 90% of damage to our homes is damage to roofs, but sadly, roofing materials are not really designed for hail impact. One group is doing critical research, trying to develop better building materials and products to make our homes stronger and more resilient to hail damage. The Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety has been doing hail research since 2010. The IBHS lab is a unique one-of-a-kind research lab that allows scientists to do highly controlled experiments, simulating realistic hailstorms in order to test various building materials. Dr. Ian Jamanko is spearheading the research team, and he's noticed some recent trends in hailstorms, both in location and hail size.
We've seen sort of a shift northward in latitude where maybe the frequency of hailstorms across, say, the southern plains down in southwest Texas, even into New Mexico, has dropped off a little bit. But we've seen an uptick a little bit as you shift north into latitude. And that affects folks in Illinois. You're right in the path of sort of that geographic shift.
It's hard to say for sure what's causing the uptick, but climate change may be a factor.
But the times we see those big, giant hail events with 2-inch or larger hail, those have actually been on the upswing. So is that the fingerprint of our changing climate? We don't know yet, but we're starting to see evidence that that may be starting to happen. And some of the results we see in the climate modeling are starting to play out in real life.
No matter what, homeowners are not defenseless, and there are steps to take to mitigate potential damage, especially if you have an older home.
For those of us who have asphalt shingle roofs that are approaching that 10-year mark, that's when we really start to see those materials become vulnerable. So once your roof starts to get to that mark, that's the time to start thinking, hey, I'm probably going to need to replace this roof soon. Or think about going to a product that does offer more long-term durability, like a metal tile or even some of the new composite materials.
An added plus if you do decide to retrofit or upgrade your home with more resilient products is that most insurance carriers offer discounts on your homeowner's insurance. Working for you, I'm Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. And don't forget, you can track all severe weather threats, including hail, in our Storm Team Weather app. Just search WICS Weather on Google Play or the Apple App Store.
And still ahead, keeping you safe in the storm. What you need to know when it comes to lightning here in central Illinois.
Plus, taking you inside the National Weather Service, the technology they use to make sure our meteorologists have the most up-to-date storm information.
Lightning is one of the most visual parts of a thunderstorm, but it can also be the most dangerous.
Meteorologist Nick Patrick breaks down how to keep yourself safe when it comes to lightning strikes.
Well, we've been talking about our severe weather coverage. One of the most deadly things that we typically think about here is that lightning. It's the thunder that gets all the attention, but the lightning here, when it strikes, can be deadly. And how it forms, you can see basically the clouds. You've got the negative charged particles up top, positive charged particles at the bottom. You get that stair-step formation. The typical lightning strike starts to form. When these two meet, you get that lightning. Now, you could see that lightning strike happen several times. What's interesting here is that this happens in less than a second. So you don't really have time to prepare. And that's why when lightning strikes, things can change so quickly. What we talk about as far as the most common type of lightning, you cloud to ground lightning there. That's the standard stair step that we just talked about. You've got it interacting with the clouds itself. That's pretty common as well, cloud to sky. We see all of that. The less common lightning is that ground to cloud formation. And this is typically what we associate with more on the deadly side of things, that ground to cloud behind those storms, which is why we meteorologists are always telling you stay inside about a half hour after the last time you hear some thunder. You don't want to get out there too early. Obviously, where the lightning strikes can happen here over the past several years, the most common is what we just showed in that diagram with the trees. You have almost 100 lightning strikes underneath trees. People trying to get out of the rain, get into a spot where they can stay safe, they think, is the trees. But that's one of the worst spots you can actually be when lightning does strike. Open field, you're in your yard, you're trying to get to shelter, but then of course on the water. So make sure when that lightning chance in the area, you're staying close to home. You can get inside here. It's very rare that you would get a lightning strike inside. So stay safe out there. Know where to go when those thunderstorms form.
All right, thanks, Nick. And don't forget, you can get alerts of when lightning is detected in your area on our Storm Team weather app. Well, groundbreaking technology. We take a look at the radar used by the National Weather Service and the advancements made in recent years.
Plus, repairing tornado sirens, the efforts by one Central Illinois team to keep everyone safe in the storm. It's been more than a decade since groundbreaking technology was introduced by the National Weather Service.
I spoke with National Weather Service meteorologist Ed Shimmin about the impact of dual polarization radar and how it's changed forecasting. Dual pol radar was introduced to the National Weather Service in March of 2011. Meteorologist Ed Shimmin says it was a huge upgrade to the radar system. It sends a vertical and horizontal signal, giving meteorologists a 3D view of the storms that they are tracking.
Actual structure of the hailstones, the size, the raindrop sizes, so that we would get a better feel for, what was out there and the quality of the objects and how we could use that information to enhance our warning decision making and alert the public of what's actually going to be happening.
Thanks to the advancement, meteorologists are able to collect additional information, improving their ability to provide earlier warnings.
Getting that picture of the storm at an angle of the dual polarization just allowed us to really give an increased lead time on messaging for especially large hail, as well as heavy downpours, downburst winds. A lot of things were able to be forewarned a little bit earlier with the dual polarization.
This extended lead time is vital when it comes to saving lives and property.
And the more time we have for people to take action, it just helps everybody all around.
And I asked if radar technology could continue to evolve in the future. Shimmin told me that they're looking at phased-array radar, which can take multiple scans of a storm simultaneously, but that technology likely wouldn't be implemented for a number of years.
And coming up after the break, a unique business. We'll introduce you to a teenager helping Illinois communities with their tornado sirens.
Tornadoes are one of the biggest threats to central Illinois, and tornado sirens are a vital part of alerting the public.
Meteorologist Matt Bednar spoke with a Jacksonville student who has made it his mission to repair and build tornado sirens for local communities.
In 6th grade social studies class, we learned about the sirens, and I thought those were pretty interesting. So I joined a Facebook group online to learn a little more about them, and it took off from there. Started out as a hobby.
It was a hobby until Alex got the right supplies to start his business, Landsaw Warning Systems.
I bought a set of tools for my birthday. My parents bought me a set of Milwaukee pack-outs, and that's how it started. The funds that I received through repairing multiple, put that money back into the operation.
While his business is only a few years old, the service it provides has already benefited local communities in Central Illinois.
Helping out the small communities, inform the public when there's a severe weather event. My first one was Glasgow, and then Alexander, Illinois. And then I repaired one for Alsea, Beeman, Illinois. We did a refurbishment there. Full radio replacement in Schuyler County.
Landsaw Warning Systems saves the communities money by reusing and repairing old sirens.
So for a brand new siren, I've seen upwards of 25 to 30,000 for one. And if I were to come in and repair, it could be less than 5,000, depending on what all needs done. And I say a refurbished unit can be around 10,000. There's quite the price difference when it comes to a new one versus a refurbished one.
Alex works with local and county officials to connect these new or refurbished sirens to the grid.
Every county has an ESDA director, and in terms of two-way radios, but when it comes to the siren itself, that's usually the city or village.
One of the hardships with his work is understanding and finding parts to these sirens, some of which are decades old.
The biggest challenge is knowing how they all work. There's hundreds of different models out there, and they each have their own intricate parts.
Several of the sirens are needed even in the smallest communities to make sure everyone can hear the alert.
The manufacturers usually rate them about around 1 mile at 70 decibels, but it mainly depends on terrain.
Alex does have a favorite tornado siren, so much so that he now has one in his yard.
My favorite would have to be the one behind me, Federal Sign and Signal Thunderbolt. My mother was very kind and drove me to Michigan for the top half, and the bottom half, Dawson, Illinois. They had it, and it was inactive.
Once inactive, after some repairs, the Thunderbolt works quite well.
I set it off once, and I got a call after I was done saying that the person had heard it, and I measured it on a map, and it was 4 miles away.
While Alex has completed several repairs, his next one is still being worked out. He always is interested in receiving more requests.
It's undetermined at the moment, but like I said, putting up one in Linville at the moment, so that'll be the next one. I'm working on building a website. That's something I really need to get on. But I started an email. Landsaw Warning Sys, SYS, @gmail.com is the best place to reach me at the moment.
Alex has made a Facebook page for his business, Landsaw Warning System, LLC, to showcase and communicate his future repairs.
And we'll be right back after the break. Well, thank you for joining us for our severe weather special.
And we hope that the information that we shared with you tonight will help you stay weather aware and prepared for any severe weather that may head our way this season.
And don't forget, when we do see severe weather, we want to see your weather photos. Head to newschannel20.com and click Chime In to submit your pictures. But please remember to stay safe when photographing active weather.
Again, thank you so much for joining us.
And get severe weather updates 24/7 on our websites, our weather apps, or follow us on social media. Have a great night. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to watch more videos from Fox, Illinois.